All right, we continue where I left off, and I'm going to just jump right into it. Hopefully, if you've been watching the other videos, you have an idea of where we're going. I'm hoping to, in this video, finally get to the most controversial way that I believe God has spoken to me. And what I'm about to say now, I probably should have said at the beginning of that section where I talked about the second topic, which is God speaks to me. I should have said all this before, but I just thought of it now, so here we go. It is one thing for God to speak to you, and He's just telling you things that are going to happen sometime in the future, versus when you believe God is saying something and you're supposed to make a decision, take steps, take action. This one is important and risky. The first one is more passive. You believe, you wait for it, while the second one is more active, and if you heard wrong, you can mess up your life. We can make mistakes thinking we hear from God. And I have mentioned some ways God has spoken to me, like an impression, a person, an event, a Bible passage, a story, a verse. And there's other ways I haven't mentioned yet. I'll probably get to them in the future. Now, as for me, whether it's just something that's supposedly going to happen in the future and God's just telling me to keep me going, to give me hope, something to hang on to, or whether it's something in which I'm supposed to take a direction, take some action, it's guidance. I always want God to tell me multiple times and in different ways. And I always journal and I date what I think I heard, what I think I understood, and there's usually a lot of waiting involved until it becomes clear or that it's time to act on what I heard. Sometimes I may only be somewhat clear, but there seems to be some external event that is forcing me to make a decision. I have to make a decision even if I'm not all that clear. But I've got an idea, okay? And I'll take some initial steps in that direction. And if I'm right, God will continue to talk to me and it will make sense and fit the current direction. But again, God talks to people in different ways and there's tests involved and faith and I don't know. It's just so sometimes I may get something that seems contradictory to the general theme or direction of what I had been getting. In that case, I have to pause and keep praying until things clear up. If you're really seeking God and you want to hear from Him, you're willing to listen and to do what He's asked you to do, and you don't have your own agenda, then He has an unlimited number of ways to speak to you. So, the most controversial way I believe God has spoken to me is when I have opened the Bible at random. And it's not like I searched for something, I just landed on the passage. And I started doing this during the summer of 2004, so that would have been uh, like around here, right? When I was dying to move to another country to be with this girl that I had met online. You'd have to go back to the other videos to get up to speed with the story. Now, by this time, I've already visited her for a week back in April. And although I had thought that God was speaking to me in various ways, giving me hope by telling me that I would be moving to that country, it was so hard to believe. Now, my take on this is when someone is drowning, you don't throw them a life preserver in its original packaging and you expect them to figure out how to open the package to get at the life preserver. No, they need it right now, right this second. And that's how bad I was doing. You can choose to believe me or you can decide I'm crazy, but I lived it. I saw it firsthand. Now, I believe that God was merciful. He met me where I was in my condition, and He chose to speak to me via the method I was using, even though I had never done that before and it didn't seem like the right thing to do. There were various ways God spoke to me when I would open the Bible randomly. One would be I land on a passage in the Bible and I start reading it, and it says exactly what I'm feeling and thinking in that moment. Uh, Similar but more a better way or different ways, I land on a passage and it gives me hope related to the situation I was in. So it's sort of like number one, I was what I was feeling and thinking, but it goes beyond that and gives answers or promises. There was one particular night I'll never forget, and although I don't have the details, because unfortunately this happened years ago and I lost that Bible and I lost the journals, related to the experience. I can only tell you what happened. I can only tell you the story. So I added here August 2004, the first week, because this was the most pivotal week in my story of 2004 of me moving to this other country to be with this girl. And so I'm talking about it starts Sunday night. And I'm in the worst shape I've been because just I think the day before Saturday, yes, my girlfriend in that other country we had spoken on the phone, and she had broken up with me because she couldn't take it anymore, and she didn't think that we'd ever see each other again. And so now I've lost the one ray of sunshine that I have had that's kept me going. And all I have to look forward to is just pain, loneliness, suffering, depression, and the states after me to put me in jail because I'm not able to pay the alimony and child support. So I can't describe to you how bad I was off Sunday night, and I'm just crying. I'm hysterical. And in that moment, I just cried out to God, and I just took the Bible and I opened it. And the first thing that I got, and I wish I had the passage to tell you to relate, but it was a very personal message to me, so I don't know that even that would even help. But all I'm telling you is this: I had a lawyer who was obviously trying to handle my legal situation, but he wasn't, he wasn't getting anywhere. Somehow, from the first passage that I landed on and I read, I knew in my heart that God was telling me the next morning, Monday, that would be here, Monday a.m., my lawyer would be calling me. And God knew that I wanted to know, like what's going to happen to me if I want to move out of the U.S. legally? Like, is this a bad thing? Is this a good thing? And I wanted my lawyer to tell me. I figured that he could probably not specifically say, yes, just leave. Anyway, all I know is I knew in my heart somehow that God was telling me, your lawyer's going to call you tomorrow morning. He's going to tell you that, he's going to say this very specifically. He can't do anything for you, that he's probably not going to lower your payment by much at all, and you're still looking at possible jail time. And then he's going to kind of agree that you can leave without saying that he agrees that you can leave. So that was the first thing that I read. The next passage that I read somehow told me that my last day would be Friday, which is the 6th of August. And I would be getting a job offer from the company in that other country that Friday morning, and that I should accept it. Now, by this time, I have been interviewing them, so it's not like out of the blue. But I hadn't gotten any offer. I didn't know which way they were leaning. An offer was not a certain thing because they had told me that there was a list of candidates that they had to go through, and they would be getting back to me. All I had known up to that point is that supposedly I had finished all of the interviews, and now it was just time to wait. So A, I didn't know if I was going to get an offer, and B, when the offer would happen. But God is telling me on Sunday night that I'm going to get an offer Friday morning, and I should take it. If all that wasn't crazy enough, the next thing that I read somehow told me that I should leave the current job without telling anyone, without giving notice. And I know I'm sounding very crazy. So what I'm saying is that I opened and closed the Bible and opened it again randomly like 5 times and got 5 different messages. I'm not telling you all the messages because I don't remember them all, and I'm just telling you the ones that are specific to giving me direction. Now, so based on what I've already talked about before this moment, what I got what I got on that Sunday night was a combination of God telling me He knows what I'm going through, He knows what I'm thinking, He knows how I feel, He knows my situation. But then there's also hope. Look, this is what's going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But then there's also the risky part, which is I want you to do this and this. Like, okay, take the job and leave and don't tell anybody. So if I haven't heard God right, then I could be setting myself up for, being serious trouble or ruining my life in some manner. But I think that is why, looking back, God was so specific with what was going to happen the next day, so that I would have the faith to know, no, yeah, God talked to me last night because this happened exactly like God said. So I'm going to try to tell you as best as I can remember what happened Monday morning. By the way, Sunday night after all that, I slept like a baby. No more hysterical moments, no more depression, sadness. I was like excited. I was like, man, this is amazing. God talks to me, and wow, this is beyond amazing. So Monday morning, I drive to work. I sit down. No sooner than I sit down, I'd say within 20 minutes, I get a phone call, and it is from my lawyer. And he's telling me, look, I think I have a hearing set up for October or November. Now think about it. We are in August, and I've been accruing arrears. So now by October, it's going to be worse. And so then he says, and really, I don't think I'm going to be able to lower your payment. They're just not willing to do this. And so I said, so you think I'm looking at jail time? He said, yeah. So then I said, so what if I was just to disappear and go somewhere? And he said, he was silent for a second. I guess he wanted to choose his words. And he goes, I can't tell you what to do, but you do what you have to do for yourself. And that's all I needed to hear. So it is now Thursday evening, Thursday night, and I have not heard from the company at all. Nothing. The only reason I have that to believe or hope that something good is going to happen the next day, Friday, and it's not just going to be another day in my dreary life, is because of what I thought I heard from God on Sunday. Now, my faith is starting to waver. I'm beginning to doubt. I remember that night I was sitting cross-legged on the floor of the room that I was renting. I was on the phone with my mom. I had the Bible in my lap, and while I was talking to her, the Bible just happened to fall open. And this passage I do remember. These are images, actual photos of a Bible of mine. This is not, unfortunately, my original Bible, but this is the one I have now. But I still have this passage marked because God has used it other times. Psalm 118 actually starts on the previous page, and then the rest of it is the following page. So I just want to show you that. So the Bible flipped open to this part here, and I just kept reading it. Now at the bottom, it says, when hard pressed, I cried to the Lord, and he brought me into a spacious place. Now understand, when you're in your own personal situation and God is talking to you via his word, it's not just what you're reading, it's what's going on inside of you that clicks. And so what I'm reading to you now, the listener, may not click for you, but I'm going to try to describe it to you as best I can. I was definitely hard pressed, not only emotionally, but legally. I'm going to land in jail. And there's just no way. By this time, I already know I have a date for me for jail. Okay, I know that for a fact. And so I was hard pressed, and I cried out to the Lord that Sunday night, and I've been doing it the whole time there. He brought me into a spacious place, and I saw that other country as a spacious place. When I thought of that country, that's what I thought of, and that's what this verse says. Moving on to the next page, then I circled at that moment. I remember circling, He is my helper. Now, why did I circle that? Because it so happens that my name, my first name, means exactly that. Now, this part here, all the nations surrounded me, but in the name of the Lord, I cut them off. They swarmed around me like bees, but they were consumed as quickly as burning thorns. This was telling me that everyone's after me, the state, the federal government, the local government, they're all after me, and they're going to keep after me. And it looks like they're going to succeed, but they're not. I'll get to that in a second. This part here, it is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in humans. Meaning, my lawyer had done everything he could for me. There was no other human help that was going to help me. And finally, it says right here, I was pushed back and about to fall. So I was close to, going down this road where I'm going to stay here, go to jail, and all that stuff. But the Lord helped me. Here it is, my name again. Shouts of joy and victory resound in the tents of the righteous. The Lord's right hand has done mighty things. Because He did do mighty things. He actually took me to that country. It worked just like I said it did. And it says, I will not die, I will not land in jail, but I will live and I will proclaim what the Lord has done, which is exactly what I'm doing now. Open for me the gates of righteousness. That's like going through, I saw it as going through customs. I can't go into more detail than that. I know this video is getting on long, but I want to finish the story. So now it's Friday morning, and the night before, I had packed up all my belongings, stuffed them in my vehicle. And it was all on faith because in my real world and what's going on around me, nothing at all had happened. There was no reason, no human reason to believe that Friday was not going to be just any other day like it had been on my previous days. There was just no reason to believe otherwise, other than I thought I heard from God. But God had told me on Sunday, remember, that I was going to get an offer Friday morning. So I arrived at work early because I didn't sleep much. There wasn't hardly anybody there but the guard. I went up to my floor and my queue. And out of habit, I looked online for that date, Bible devotional that I always did. And it spoke to me. And I didn't expect it to say this, but what I got out of it was, yes, walk out of that job. Don't look back. Don't give notice. Don't tell anyone. As soon as I had finished reading the devotional, it was like 7 a.m. The phone rings. And it was a person from that other company in that other country. And they said, hi, we have good news. We want to extend you an offer. And they told me the offer, and I said, I'll take it. And they said, okay, can you start in 2 weeks? And I said, sure. And they said, but we need you to actually start earlier, and we need you to go to Boston first and for training before you move on to where we are. I said, fine, no problem. So everything has happened just like I had believed God had told me to that moment. So by now that what's left for me to do is actually make a decision. Am I going to walk out of that job and do what, like I was told, like I thought I was told, or am I just going to stay? So I had to, the moment of truth has come. Do I believe or do I not believe? Now, you can't get into that building without your badge, which you scan. And for some reason, and so, if you don't have that badge, you can't get back in. And for some reason, I guess I didn't want to steal the badge, number one. And I wanted my supervisor, because I liked him. He had been really good to me the whole time I was there. And I kind of wanted to let him know in a way, without being able to tell him anything, that I was gone. So I got up out of my cubicle. I walked into his office. There was nobody there. I took my badge off. I laid it on his desk, and I started walking out. And I knew the minute I opened the exterior doors and walk out, I won't be able to get back in. And if I'd have to knock on the door, and the guard's going to ask me. It's just not going to happen. So there was no going back. So I did. I did exactly that. Long story short, I heard right because in the months that I was in this other country, I found out from family in the States that I was being sought after. They had private investigators and other investigators searching for me, and they couldn't find me. I guess I'll leave it there because I want to move on to the my original story thread, which I got sidetracked. So I'm going to leave it there for now and go back to seven and things like that.